It's a WRAL weather alert day. Lots of cold rain across the viewing area, and in some areas there could be a few slick bridges. I'll walk you through what to expect this morning.
The WRAL Storm Tracker is monitoring road conditions this morning, including our northern counties. We're going to show you what to expect as you head out for your morning commute.
And you might want to check your flight status if you're headed to RDU this morning. The winter storm in the northeast is already affecting flights across the country. It's been doing so all morning long. We're showing you what cancellations and delays look like this morning. There's quite a few of them at RDU, so we'll check in with Nick Perlin coming up. Thanks for joining us here on our Weather Alert Day. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
Yeah, I'm Chris Levingood. I'm curious what it looks like up in your home state there in New York,
New
especially
York.
if that's pushing up in that area too.
You never know. My mom was disappointed. She's like, we're only going to get like 1 inch, I think. So
your mom wants more there.
They want more.
All right, well, what we're getting here, not necessarily snow, but we have seen ice on the radar there. Elizabeth Gardner is going to walk you through that.
So what we're seeing here, of course, green is the rain, and the pink area is where we could be seeing some freezing rain. However, we have Laura Levine up in Person County, and she said she's not seeing any glaze on the trees or anywhere else. But yesterday, there was some snow and some sleet, and apparently someone ran into a patch of that and ran off the road there in the northern part of Person County. So just be careful out there. Anywhere north of I-85, you have the potential to run into some slick bridges. There may be places where, it's early, people haven't traveled on just yet, that could be slick. So just be careful in those areas. Our best chance for rain will be from now up until around lunchtime, and then we start to clear things out, maybe a flurry or two in our northeastern counties later on this evening. But again, this is a look at where our winter weather advisory is, counties that border Virginia, along with Durham and Orange counties, where you could see some potentially icy conditions. But again, so far, we've made it all the way to 8 o'clock without any reports of it. That's good news. 32 in Roxborough, 32 in South Hills, 35 in Durham now. So I don't think we're going to have any more issues potentially for Orange County or Durham County, but you still want to be conscious of that. Turning drier and windy later on this evening. And of course, really messy conditions as you're headed out the door. It's just a mess here as we take a look at our Jimmy V camera. Temperatures are in the mid-30s heading out the door. Ken, coming up, we're going to talk about our chances for some wintry precipitation this coming weekend.
All right, look forward to that. And we're following some breaking news right now. We're getting reports of a serious crash in northern Durham this morning, a multi-car crash involving an 18-wheeler on I-85. This is around this area right now because that's Guest Road in Hallandale. We've got the WRAL Storm Tracker, Kelsey Coffey, and photographer Charles Bradley on their way to that crash, and we'll bring you an update as soon as we figure out exactly what's going on. Back here in Wake County, here's a live look at I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. You can see traffic is definitely picked up in those westbound lanes moving away from us. To that end, that southern loop of the Beltline, you're looking at a 17-minute delay. You're coming in from Garner, maybe Johnston County. I would take the northern loop of the Beltline just to be on the safe side to avoid the 17 minutes you're seeing right there on that on the Beltline. Because as we isolate the Beltline this morning, this is what we're talking about. From Lake Wheeler all the way over to Cary, the I-40 split there. You can see where it's ending, and you can still see the congestion building on the southern loop of the Beltline, as well as the northern loop of the Beltline as well. You look at maybe like a 5 to 10 minute delay on that northern loop of the Beltline. To that end, let's look at those drive times coming in. Our friends in Wake Forest, give yourself an extra 7 minutes to come into the capital city this morning. Otherwise, very little to no delays on the other major routes. In Durham, things looking much better. No delays really to speak of going into the Bull City this morning.
All right, thank you, Ken. Now, we're watching this story this morning as several school systems in our viewing area are closed, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But first, let's get to Kelsey Coffey right now because she is out on the roads there right now in the WRAL Storm Tracker. Kelsey, where specifically are you, and what are you seeing out there?
Chris, right now we're on 85 in Durham, and we're getting a downpour right now, so we'll give you a live look now at road conditions. We did check on a crash that was near Guest Road, and it seems like that's not going to be anything that's going to impact you traffic-wise as far as your morning commute, but they're still working on clearing that crash. So the rain that you're seeing right now is something that would impact your visibility, so you want to slow down. Give yourself a little bit of extra time ahead of your morning drive because you'll be driving slower than normal. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Durham.
And several school systems in our viewing area are closed or delayed today in response to that winter weather we're seeing. Wake County schools are on a normal schedule today, and this map shows the school systems that are affected. Durham, Orange, Franklin, Northampton, Edgecombe, and Warren counties will be on a 2-hour delay today. Vance and Person counties are closed. We are running closings at the bottom of your screen, and for a full list that is constantly updating, go to our website. That's WRAL.com. And you can count on WRAL no matter what comes your way. We will bring you the very latest weather coverage on WRAL.com, WRAL News Plus, and our news app as well.
We're now learning the names of 2 people killed in a crash in Sampson County near Clinton. You're seeing video here from the WRAL breaking news tracker from around 12:30 this morning on Reedsford Road. State Highway Patrol says the car was speeding before it ran off the road and hit a mailbox and 2 trees. Angel Bonilla Garcia and Daniel Gonzalez both died after that crash. Trooper say Garcia was not wearing a seatbelt when he was driving.
We are working to learn if anyone was hurt in a shooting at a Red Roof Inn in Raleigh. This is video from the scene from the WRAL breaking news tracker. Police say this happened around 9 o'clock last night at the motel on Arrow Drive Road. You can see the gun lying on the ground there. We are waiting to find out what led to that shooting, if anyone was hurt or if anyone was arrested.
A house fire left a dog dead, and now 2 people are out of their home. This happened last night around 11 o'clock on Stony Creek Circle in Durham. Firefighters say when they arrived, they saw the flames and smoke at the back of the house. You see it right here on your screen. The fire was put out in about 10 minutes' time. The 2 adults inside managed to escape without injuries, and though one dog did die in this, another one managed to escape. But it's unclear what caused that fire.
A woman is expected in court today after police say she shot her 4-year-old daughter. The shooting happened on Weaver Street near East Cornwallis Road Saturday afternoon. 24-year-old Vinteza Sowell was arrested and charged with felony child abuse and assault with a deadly weapon. On last check, the child is in critical condition. No word yet on what led to that shooting.
A man charged in a deadly hit and run is expected in court this afternoon. 49-year-old Robert Williams arrested Saturday after being on the run for weeks. The WRAL breaking news tracker was there when he was arrested on I-95 in Harnett County. Williams is charged in a hit and run that killed 24-year-old Courtney Atkins and injured 3 others, including a 5-year-old. The crash happened December 15th on Cornwallis Road, and Williams is being held under no bond.
President Joe Biden will travel to New Orleans today. He will attend a vigil to honor those killed and hurt during the attack. The president is expected to be given a moment to speak during the vigil. He will also meet with investigators looking into the attack.
We're learning more about how the suspect in the New Orleans attack planned it. The FBI released video clips showing the suspect, Shamsuddin Jabbar, testing Meta smart glasses in a mirror. The Bureau also released surveillance video, actually clips of him in the French Quarter during 2 previous trips to the city. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Meta glasses look like regular glasses, but they record videos and photos hands-free. Authorities say that Jabbar was wearing the glasses during the attack, but there was no indication he was recording at that time. The video also shows him putting 2 explosive devices at 2 different locations.
This is a live look at the U.S. Capitol right now. This afternoon, Congress will meet to certify President-elect Donald Trump's election victory. 4 years ago today, a mob attacked the building. They tried to stop the count of President Biden's electoral votes. Fencing and barriers are set up around the Capitol this morning. Police have shut down multiple streets for today's proceedings. And House Speaker Mike Johnson says the massive winter storm moving across the U.S. will not keep Congress from meeting. They are expected to convene at 1 p.m.
And today, Governor Josh Stein's cabinet will be sworn in. The event will be held at 3 p.m. in the Old House chambers of the state Capitol building. 10 State Department heads will be sworn in today, in fact. Pam Cashwell was already officially made the head of the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources on Friday. The Department of Administration and the DHHS will be without new leaders until the weekend. For the full list of Governor Stein's cabinet selections, you can go to the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com.
Today, the final plans for the renovations for the Durham County Sheriff's Office training facility could be approved. The Durham County Board of Commissioners could vote on the $16 million investment during their meeting today. It would help build a training center on Electra Road. Saturday, people voiced their concerns about the project at a rally. They feel it is a misuse of their tax dollars, which would be better spent elsewhere. Today's meeting starts at 9 a.m.
Your time is 8:09. A quademic warning. Why doctors are concerned about a possible threat from 4 sources as some hospitals restrict visitors.
Plus, combating a traffic gridlock. The new plan New York City is implementing today in hopes of encouraging more people to use public transportation.
And taking a look at the radar as you're stepping out the door, lots of rain, especially from the Triangle area northward. The purple shaded area is where we could see a little bit of light icing. I'll show you what you'll see when you head out the door.
Welcome back on your messy Monday morning. This is a live look at Durham right now. You're watching WRAL News. It is a WRAL weather alert day. We are tracking some showers across the area. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner showing us where those showers are falling. Some north of us are getting that freezing rain.
It is a miserably cold, wet start back to school for a lot of kids, and some of them are on a delay. The purple shaded area is where theoretically we could be seeing some freezing rain. However, Laura Levine has spent all morning up here in Person County and is not seeing any glaze. There was one person who did slide off the road in Person County, but it appears that that was because of some of the snow that we saw yesterday still lingering on the roads, creating some slick conditions. So look out for that, certainly up near the Virginia line, but we have certainly not heard of any other problems except for that. So no widespread issues with this right now. And because it's 8:13 currently, we'll continue to gradually see our temperatures warming up, and that should limit any additional potential for any freezing rain. We take a look at Futurecast here, and you can see just a little bit of purple still showing here through the 8 o'clock hour, and it really just all changes over to rain. That rain becomes a little heavier between 9 and 10, and then gradually starts to move out of the viewing area as we get into early afternoon. After that, we get a push of some cold air. We do still have our winter weather advisory in effect until 11 a.m., but we may end up seeing very little chance of that lingering at that point. We'll continue to watch those temperatures. It is 32 in Roxborough, 29 Henderson, 32 Lewisburg and South Hill, and 30 in Roanoke Rapids. Those are all areas that you want to be especially careful and watch out for any slick spots on bridges. Everybody else, though, seeing temperatures at 34 or higher, and so shouldn't be much of an issue there. So again, still the potential for a little bit of light freezing rain. Shouldn't be any power outages, but just watch out for any slick bridges. Again, fortunately, we've not heard of any of those yet. Widespread rain up until early afternoon for the rest of us, and just a cold, just miserable rain. Yesterday, you may have heard the sleet going ping, 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 ping. Sleet is actually a little ice pellet, sort of like the sprinkles on your donuts. We got into this donut thing, and of course now everybody around the studio is like, who brought the donuts? Who brought the donuts? Freezing rain is like the glaze on the donut. And then, so that's a little bit of a difference between freezing rain and sleet for you. Meteorologist Chris Michael is here to talk a little bit more about some freezing precipitation types.
Yeah, and it's really just kind of that fine line between freezing rain and rain today. And the farther north you go, the better chance you have, because we've got the air above the surface that is above freezing. But then you come down to the surface where the temperature is 32. What happens when you freeze a raindrop? It sounds counterintuitive, but what happens is you actually warm the surrounding air. This is something that's called latent heat release. So freezing rain actually kind of limits itself, especially if you're close to 32. Once that raindrop freezes, the surrounding air can warm up to about 33 or so. So right now, that freezing rain concern is, again, Person, Granville, Vance, Warren counties, Northampton, Halifax, Mecklenburg counties. But eventually, hopefully by about 9:30, 10 o'clock, we'll see that 32 change over to 33. But even still, ice totals, they're nothing crazy impressive, about a glaze to 0.05 of an inch. But north of I-85, that's where we could see some slick bridges up until about 10 or 11 o'clock this morning. Elizabeth?
That'll be it for the week. We have the potential of possibly Friday and Saturday to see another system. It'll all depend on how far north it goes. The farther north it goes, the more likely it is to be all rain. The farther south that track is, the better chance that we may have a little bit more wintry weather for Friday into Saturday. So stay tuned. We'll be watching that very closely. Definitely some very cold temperatures for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which could set us up for that over the weekend, Ken.
What's happening now in the WRAL Traffic City? We want to stay outside, give you a live look at I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. You can see the serious traffic jam on those westbound lanes right there. As a matter of fact, 5 minutes ago, this isn't what it looked like. This is how quickly traffic can change. I'm seeing some flashing lights in there. As soon as I know more about what's going on there in this southern loop of the Beltline, I'll let you know exactly what's going on, because we want to isolate that southern loop of the Beltline this morning. You can see the huge traffic jam building from Lake Wheeler Road all the way over to Cary in terms of the Cary I-440, I-40 split. So keep that in mind. You're about to head out this morning, because there is a crash on I-40 westbound there, Quarry Road, but that's not causing any delays in that particular area, because the drive times on the southern loop of the Beltline is 8 minutes right now in terms of delay. That was up to double digits a little while ago. So if you get ready to head out, that's part of your morning commute. Just keep in mind that's what you're going to be running into this morning. I would avoid that southern loop of the Beltline. Just take the northern loop, Capitol Boulevard, Six Forks Road, that type thing. In terms of the drive times coming into the capital city, the real troubled spot really is only Wake Forest coming into the capital city. You're going to need about a little extra 6 minutes to do that. Similarly, in Durham, all the major routes are delay-free heading into Durham this morning, which is really a good thing. You're getting ready to head out. We've got you covered on the radio in 3 opportunities, but the main one, 101.5 HD3, you can check us out anywhere in the Triangle.
Nearly 24 flights are canceled at RDU already this morning. Nick Perlin is in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker with how the weather is causing issues at the airport. What are we seeing at RDU, Nick?
Well, Michelle, we did just refresh our flight aware. We now see that 27 flights have been canceled, and a lot of them are going to the similar region, that Baltimore, D.C. region. I'm going to step out of the way and show you this board here. And as you can see, we're seeing a lot of flights here. That's Washington Dulles and Washington National airports. Those flights are being canceled, as well as BWI. We're seeing flights, again, to that Baltimore, D.C. area. But one thing to notice, it does look like the afternoon flights are on time to that area. So potentially, as those snowy conditions there start to taper off, we could potentially see those flights starting to, be on time, which is good news with the weather that came through this morning. So again, if you're getting ready to fly through RDU, make sure you're checking the status of your flight, especially if you're flying into that Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area this morning, to see if your flight is still on time. We're going to monitor how the weather will continue to update those flights all morning, and we'll continue to update you on what we're seeing. Live at RDU, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
It was 8:19. One person was killed in a large avalanche in western Wyoming on Saturday. This avalanche happened in a backcountry area roughly 20 miles east of the Grand Teton National Park. According to investigators, a group of skiers was trying to climb a steep slope there. And, well, that's when a large slab of snow broke and slid down the mountain. Kenneth Goff was buried in the avalanche. A second skier was partially buried and suffered injuries to his legs.
Well, as many of us are returning to our normal routines after the holidays, respiratory illnesses are forcing some healthcare facilities to restrict visitors. Health professionals are warning of a quademic. RSV, the flu, COVID, and norovirus could possibly peak around the same time.
Every year when we have respiratory viruses start to surge, I usually call the emergency department the canary in the coal mine for the rest of the hospital. That's when you see, waiting room crowding, emergency room crowding, where a lot of people come in, especially around the holidays.
And despite a slow start, the CDC is predicting hospitalization could be as high as last year. 5 people died of the flu in North Carolina during the last week of December, marking the most flu deaths in a single week during the current flu season. You can find the full list of hospital restrictions, as well as the best place to get an updated flu shot near you. That's on WRAL.com.
New York City is now the first city in the United States to enforce congestion tolls. The new pricing plan is expected to affect residents as well as tourists who use taxis or even car services. Deborah Valentine explains how.
Big changes that could cost you a pretty penny are rolling out in the Big Apple, with the country's largest city now the first in the nation to implement congestion price tolls. Most vehicles entering Midtown Manhattan south of 60th Street will now be hit with a $9 surcharge. The fee's taking place on weekdays between 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. and from 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on the weekends. On off hours, the toll goes down to $2.25.
Gas is already expensive. Now we have to factor in tolls. So I think a lot of people will be driving less.
Whoever's putting that bill together needs to see a psychiatrist.
Many locals and commuters from neighboring states feel like their wallets simply can't catch a break. especially with some already having to pay tolls to cross bridges and tunnels to get to the city to begin with. Transit officials say the tolls aim to reduce traffic and generate funds to fix public transportation infrastructure. They also cite certain exemptions for those with low incomes and disabilities.
1,400 cameras, over 110 detection points.
Electronic sensors will charge drivers through their Easy Passes. Passengers taking a taxi or using a rideshare service like Uber or Lyft will also face a surcharge.
This is a toll system like has never been tried before in terms of complexity.
Meanwhile, this toll could inspire other large cities to follow suit, with Los Angeles Metro officials indicating they have been exploring the possibility for the near future.
That was Deborah Valentine reporting. Elon Musk is expanding his footprint. He will provide Starlink Wi-Fi service to United Airlines. United will begin testing Starlink next month. Its first commercial flight with the service will launch this spring, and Starlink will eventually be available on every United flight. Once Starlink is up and running, United's Mileage Plus members will have free access to Starlink. That will give them access to things like streaming services and games.
The massive winter storm is not keeping Congress from their duties today. The preparations underway as Congress prepares to certify the election results.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning and happy Monday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. It's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner showing us where some rain is falling right now.
Boy, it's miserable out there. Temperatures are in the 30s and it is raining. And here up near the Virginia line, temperatures are close to freezing. We haven't had any reports of widespread issues, even here in the area where we have our winter weather advisory. But you just want to be cautious there. Watch out for bridges. There was one person who slid off the road in the northern part of Person County due to some of the precipitation that fell yesterday. Here's our hour-by-hour rain chances from now until early afternoon. That rain's going to be coming down and the temperatures are going to be awfully chilly. We'll take a look at our messy weather, looking at high temperatures climbing into the 40s later on this afternoon. We'll see some clearing with the windy conditions, and wind chills tomorrow morning could be in the teens. Ken?
Happening now in the WRAL traffic center, Elizabeth. We had reports of a car blocking the road on I-40 on Carytown Boulevard, but you can see that car is right now off onto the median, so it's not causing any problems this morning. But here's a real trouble spot. This is I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. You can see bumper-to-bumper traffic there. Those westbound lanes heading away from us this morning. To that end, this is what we're talking about. That's southern loop of the Beltline starting at Lake Wheeler Road. We're on Rock Quarry, but that's you're looking at an 11-minute delay. So if you're coming in from Garner, maybe Johnston County, I'll use a northern loop of the Beltline. I'll have an update on the bottom of the hour over on Fox 50.
Thanks, Ken. We are working to learn if anyone was hurt in a shooting at a Red Roof Inn in Raleigh. Police say it happened around 9 o'clock last night at the motel on Arrow Drive Road. You can see the gun on the ground there. We are waiting to find out what led to that shooting, or if anyone was hurt, or if anyone was arrested. Next on Fox 50, a closer look at the trouble spots on the roads as rain picks up in our area on this WRAL Weather Alert Day.
Today's a WRAL Weather Alert Day because of cold rain and the potential for some freezing rain. I'll show you what you'll see when you head out the door.
And the WRAL Storm Tracker is monitoring road conditions all across our viewing area this morning. We'll tell you what to expect as you head out the door this morning.
Plus, if you're headed out the door this morning, specifically to the airport, you might want to check your flight status. We're giving you a live look at RDU on a day that we are seeing cancellations and delays. We've already seen things past that 25 mark for the cancellations. So, yeah, definitely check with your airline this morning. Hey, thanks so much for waking up with us here on this WRAL Weather Alert Day. As you see on the screen below the desk there, I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. What a miserable Monday to wake up to. It's Monday, and we're also dealing with the cold cold and the rain. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracking where all of this rain is falling and how long this is going to last.
And, this is never pleasant, but especially on, really the first Monday kids are back to school. Everybody's getting into the swing of it. This is definitely a rude awakening. Cold rain out there for most of us. You head south of Goldsboro, down toward Fayetteville and Clinton. We're not seeing a whole lot of rain there, but everybody else seeing rain. And then, of course, there's the area that's shaded in purple. This is where the radar is making some assumptions. It's assuming that it is raining and that the temperatures are below freezing, and that is creating some freezing rain. However, we really don't have any reports of that. The closest reports from the Weather Service that we have of any freezing rain way back here in Winston-Salem. Of course, it's early, and we just may not have gotten the reports in. But Laura Levine has been up in Person County all morning, and she says there's really not any glazing that's going on there. We haven't had any reports of slick bridges, but it's a possibility. There was one person that slid off the road in the northern part of Person County earlier this morning. It appears that that was because of some of the snow that fell yesterday still lingering across the area. But anyway, all these counties in our winter weather advisory, you need to proceed with caution just in case you run into something that's slick, especially a slick bridge. This is a look at our precipitation. It's likely to start to taper off around early afternoon, and then we'll start to see some clearing. The wind will pick up. It's going to be a windy evening, and overnight tonight, winds gusting 20 to 30 miles per hour. The wind chills tomorrow morning could be down into the teens. And so once this moves out, it's not like we get much of a break. Check out these temperatures heading out the door. 32 in Lewisburg and in South Hill. Everybody else, at least on this graphic, is just above freezing. And so we're definitely seeing more places that are above freezing. Definitely indoors at the gym today. We'll see a high temperature of 48, but colder for tomorrow. And that may set the stage for the chance of some wintry precipitation this weekend. We'll take a look at that coming up. Ken?
All right, 8:32, Elizabeth. You see the rain moving, really blanketing the entire viewing area this morning. We do have the WRAL storm tracker out on the roadways this morning. Kelsey Coffey, photographer Charles Bradley, giving us a first-hand account of what you're seeing out your window right now. Kelsey.
Ken, it's a wet, messy morning commute for folks. We'll give you a live look now at 85 in Durham. We are headed back towards Raleigh right now. You may even be able to hear that rain coming down on the storm tracker a little bit. So this is something that's going to impact your visibility. Give yourself some extra time, slow down, and watch out for ponding because we've had rain all throughout the morning and we've had those overnight showers. So be careful out there. But Ken, are you monitoring any trouble spots so far this morning?
A real trouble spot this morning is that southern loop of the Beltline. This is what we're talking about. This is I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. Those are the westbound lanes. You can just see bumper-to-bumper traffic this morning, and this is what I'm talking about. That southern loop of the Beltline from the I-440 to US 1 this morning in Cary. You're looking at a 5-minute delay. That used to be up to double digits just about a half hour ago. So things are improving, but you can see it's still slow going there on that southern loop of the Beltline. In terms of the drive time coming into the capital city this morning, the only troubled spot really out Fenton Wake Forest. You need to give yourself about an extra 5 minutes to get into the capital city this morning. In Durham, though, all the major routes are virtually delay-free this morning. Just I-40 westbound from Wade Avenue, you're looking at a 3-minute delay. Listen, you're getting ready to head out the door. We've got you covered. Listen to us on the radio, 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
And as you're listening to us on the radio, you're going to get this alert. Some school systems in our viewing area are closed or delayed today. This is in response to the winter weather. Wake County schools, in fact, are on a normal schedule today. Now, let me show you this map right here. It will display the school systems that are affected. In the past 10 minutes, Halifax County announced school is delayed 2 hours. Durham, Orange, Franklin, Northampton, Edgecombe, and Warren counties are also on a 2-hour delay today. Vance and Person counties will be closed. We are running closings at the bottom of your screen just in case you forget. And for a full list that is constantly updating, you can go to WRAL.com. We actually have WRAL's Laura Levine in Roxborough this morning where they have a chance of that freezing rain there. I think she's seen some activity out there. You have your hood out there this morning, Laura. What else are you seeing?
It's pretty chilly out here in Roxborough. Good morning, Chris. Right now, we are seeing just a light drizzle. I wouldn't even say freezing rain, although the temperatures are cold, let alone a repeat of yesterday. Many people were hoping for a little brief snow flurries happening here in Roxborough. I wouldn't say that's what we're seeing just yet. However, some of what was left over from yesterday still sticking to the ground a little bit, and that's really caused a little bit of some issues for people driving this morning. We responded to an accident that happened on Westland Road earlier this morning. A tow truck just left the scene about 30 minutes ago, so that scene has cleared. But just a reminder to drivers who are traveling here in the area to take it easy, slow down, because the roads are slick. Over in the northern region of Roxborough and Person County, the sheriff was concerned about some potential icing on the roads near the Hyco Lake. We were out there this morning. I wouldn't say it was icing on the road, but there were some slick roads out there again from what was kind of accumulated overnight and yesterday when we saw that brief snow flurry action happening here. We'll continue to monitor conditions here throughout the morning, of course, and keep you updated if anything changes. But right now, just light rain happening here in Roxborough. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Person County.
And Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center, just as we are headed to the north just a little bit to find some of that precipitation. A little farther to the north from that is where some of that severe weather is cutting through from the Midwest all the way to the east. This is a live look in Kansas City right here on the right side of your screen. As you take a look, that's the Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City Chiefs home. They played in Denver, of all places. Denver was clear yesterday, but they couldn't fly home after the game because of what was happening there in Kansas City. A little farther east from Kansas City, Indianapolis, you see what a nasty scene that is. 3 hours east of Indy. You see Columbus, Ohio right there with some of the traffic cameras that they're showing there. And then this live drive through central Maryland kind of looks the worst of the bunch right there. Lots of snow reported in that area, between 10 and 14 inches for some folks in that Maryland area. We'll keep an eye on this and let you know how it'll affect your travel at some of the airports.
All right, thank you, Jeff. And folks, you can count on WRAL News no matter what comes our way. We're going to bring you the very latest weather coverage on WRAL.com, WRAL News Plus, and the WRAL News app.
Well, we now know the names of 2 people killed in a crash in Sampson County near Clinton. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker around 12:30 this morning on Reedsford Road. State Highway Patrol says the car was traveling at a high rate of speed before it ran off the road and hit a mailbox and 2 trees. Angel Bonilla Garcia and Daniel Gonzalez both died at the scene. Troopers say Garcia was driving and not wearing a seatbelt.
WRAL News is working to learn if anyone was hurt in a shooting at a Red Roof Inn in Raleigh. Let me show you video from the scene. This is from the WRAL breaking news tracker. Investigators say this happened around 9 last night at the motel on Arrow Drive Road. Notice right here, the gun laying on the ground. We're trying to confirm what led up to that shooting and if anyone was arrested.
Today, Durham Public Schools is expected to talk about solutions to bus driving shortages. Last month, the school board voted to implement family responsibility zones on January 21st. That means families who live within 1 mile, mile and a half of the school will not have bus service. Rotational bus service is scheduled to end on January 17th. The board is working on a plan to express bus stops for certain magnet schools. The meeting starts this evening at 5 o'clock.
I'm going to give you a live look at the U.S. Capitol, where this afternoon at 1 p.m., Congress will meet to formally certify Donald Trump as president. House Speaker Mike Johnson says the massive winter storm moving across the U.S. will not keep Congress from meeting. Fencing and barriers are set up around the Capitol this morning. Police have shut down multiple streets for today's proceedings. Today actually marks 4 years since a mob attacked the building, trying to delay the certification of President Biden's victory. Last night, President Biden reflected on the events of January 6th while holding a reception for new Democratic members of Congress. He says what happened 4 years ago should never happen again.
In the last game of the NFL regular season, the first seed in the NFC playoffs was finally determined. The Detroit Lions beat NFC North rival the Minnesota Vikings 31-9 to claim that #1 seed. It was the first meeting in league history between 2 teams with at least 13 victories. This is also the highest postseason seed in Lions franchise history. The Vikings will open the postseason next Monday, January 13th in LA, playing the Rams. The Lions will return to the field either January 18th or 19th. That's depending on the playoff schedule.
Lions fans, right? And the Carolina Panthers beat the Atlanta Falcons in overtime yesterday, winning 44-38. So Panthers fans have something to celebrate. Quarterback Bryce Young had another career game. He threw for 251 yards with 3 touchdown passes and scored twice on the ground. Possibly the most memorable moment of Sunday's game came in the third quarter. Young found tight end Tommy Tremble wide open for a 10-yard touchdown. And with this win, the Panthers now wait to see which draft pick they're going to get.
And with all the talk at the end of the regular season, this is commonly referred to in the NFL as Black Monday. If you are an NFL coach on the hot seat, This is the worst day for you right there. And the latest, just a few moments ago, Doug Peterson was fired from his post as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. Already several other in-season coach firings, the Bears, the Jets, the Saints, the Patriots yesterday, right after their game, the Patriots fired their head coach. But still some folks on the hot seat. Doug Peterson, just the latest to be named here. But in Dallas, Mike McCarthy, New York Giants, Brian Daboll. Also, guys on the hot seat we'll be watching.
For NFL coaches. All right, thanks, Jeff. Well, last night's Golden Globes officially kicked off the 2025 award season. What Demi Moore has to say about winning her first major award for acting.
Plus, a piece of TV history is now looking for a new owner. How much you're going to need to pay to buy the Breaking Bad home.
Taking a look at Dual Doppler 5000 radar, it is a messy Monday morning. So the green is where we have rain falling, and that is most of the viewing area except for just our far southern counties. Then, of course, your eye's really drawn to the purple shaded area, and this is where the radar is making some assumptions. It sees precipitation falling and notes that the temperature is at or below freezing and assumes that we have some wintry precipitation. If we were seeing any, it would be freezing rain in this setup, and of course, that's a raindrop that falls and freezes into an icy glaze. However, we have had no reports of any bridges that are slick, which is what we would expect in this sort of scenario. Laura Levine has been up in Person County all morning, and she says she's not seeing any glazing on trees or cars or anything like that. There was someone that slid off the road. That appears to be due to the snow that fell yesterday that's still lingering out there. So definitely some issues potentially there, but we haven't seen anything widespread. It is messy out there. With this kind of rain, we tend to see a lot of accidents. It's 8:45, and Ken Smith will come up in just a little while to explain what's going on out there. But as we get through the morning hours, we are likely to see fewer and fewer issues, of course, as our temperatures continue to warm up. We're looking at the rain becoming a little heavier as we get into, say, 9, 10 o'clock. So in the next hour, as that rain gets heavier, the temperatures tend to rise. So we're not looking at this condition getting worse. As a matter of fact, just in the next hour to two, it should get a little better. The rain's pretty heavy up until the early part of the afternoon. Then it moves on out and we transition to a cold weather pattern. We could see just a few isolated snow flurries up near South Hill as we get into this evening, but we're not looking at that causing any real problems. So we do still have our winter weather advisory in effect until 11 o'clock. So just be careful out there. Unfortunately, we haven't seen a lot of issues. Temperature, though, is 32 in Roxborough, 30 in Henderson, 32 in Lewisburg, 30 in Roanoke Rapids. From Raleigh southward, we're seeing temperatures above freezing. Again, cold air comes in behind this, and that could set us up for another round of wintry precipitation for the weekend. Chris Michaels is here with a look at what that could be.
Yeah, and Elizabeth, of course, we're 5 days out from that even potential, so it's hard to get into the details, but we can talk about some of the probabilities and the odds of this thing happening. Right now, what we know is that a storm system is likely, but as far as snow, wintry mix, or rain, that's going to be entirely dependent on the location of this storm and the timing of it, too. So there's kind of two schools of thought. If that area of low pressure or storm system is farther north, then we see more wet weather and less wintry weather. If it's farther south, it allows the cold air to linger. We'd be in business for some wintry weather and less wet weather. Again, this is going to be Friday night into Saturday. So at this stage in the game, we can look at probabilities. And what this shows is the chance of an inch of snow or higher. It's actually higher than usual. You see from the triangle northward, it's about 40 to 50%. But as you go toward the odds of maybe 3 inches of snow, those odds start to go down. Forecast data should get a little better by midweek once weather balloons get into the system and sample it a little bit more. So keep checking back for updates on the WRAL News app. Elizabeth?
Checking the cold temperatures that are going to come in to set us up for that. 42 for tomorrow. Look at these overnight lows down into the 20s. Thursday's highs only 37. So we'll have plenty of cold air in place. But of course, it will just depend on the track of that low, as Chris said. So keep checking in with us as we get more updates. Ken?
Now in the WRAL Traffic Center, we have some situation brewing on the westbound side of I-40. It's the I-40 eastbound, really. There's a disabled vehicle, but we're seeing some delays in that westbound lane there on I-40 Lake Wheeler Road. As we isolated the belt line this morning, you can see it right there as we widen out the view for you. Let's take you outside and show you what we're talking about this morning. This is I-40 Lake Wheeler Road. You can see the bump of traffic there as folks are trying to get to the west part of our community this morning. And really and truly, when you see the bumper-to-bumper traffic, you'll think it's a lot of a delay, but we're just picking up maybe a 2-minute delay to get you from the Beltline to US 1 there in Cary. Similarly, to get you from Wade Avenue to I-540 past the airport with about a 2-minute delay. So things are moving, even though it doesn't look that way. But here's what we can expect in terms of delay time to getting into the capital city. Just our friends at Wake Forest, you give yourself 4 minutes extra to get in there. But in Durham, things are looking really good this morning. There's the issue on the westbound lane, but all the other major routes into the Bull City are delay-free this morning.
Nearly 24 flights are canceled at RDU already this morning. Actually, more than that at this point. Nick Perlin is in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker with how the weather is causing issues at the airport. What's it looking like this hour, Nick?
Well, Chris, I just refreshed the FlightAware page right here on my phone, and I'm still seeing 27 cancellations here at RDU. I'm also seeing now 11 total delays here, a lot of that having to do with the winter weather we're seeing across the country. I'm going to step out of the way and show you what I'm talking about. We're seeing a lot of canceled flights, specifically going to the Washington, D.C. and Baltimore area. If you notice here, that's the Washington Dulles Airport and the Washington National Airport. I am seeing some of the later flights to those areas starting to be on time. So potentially we could be starting to see more normalcy here at the airport. But a lot of this does have to do with the heavy weather we saw in that Maryland, Baltimore, D.C. area. So we're going to continue to monitor how that weather is impacting flight here at RDU. Of course, we'll continue to update you on any new developments that we see while we're here. Live at RDU, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
Free, unbiased information about ACA health plans is just a phone call away this Tuesday. 5 on Your Side is partnering with the North Carolina Navigator Consortium to help people find marketplace insurance coverage for this year. Tatiana Claude usually has insurance through her work, but she signed up for an ACA plan for the first time this year. She had the help of a navigator and encouraged others to do the same.
If you don't have that safety net insurance, you're kind of left to waste away. I hate to be so morbid, but that's ultimately the case.
You may have questions, so you can call 855-733-3711 this Tuesday, that's tomorrow, from 4 until 7 for 5 on Your Side's Affordable Care Act call-in. Navigators can answer plan questions or set up appointments to get signed up for coverage. Open enrollment ends January 15th. A Breaking Bad fan could own a major piece of the show. It's a pretty big setting, too. Walter White's iconic home is now up for sale for $4 million. The home is located in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it still draws hundreds of tourists daily. The 1,900-square-foot home has been owned by the same family since the 70s.
Well, stars from the big and small screen celebrated the 82nd Golden Globes last night. Here's David Daniel with some of the biggest moments.
To the 82nd Golden Globes, Ozempic's biggest night.
Host Nikki Glaser kicked off what's traditionally Hollywood's most raucous award show, a sentiment shared by the co-creator of Hacks, which won Best TV Series, Musical or Comedy, and Best Female Actor in that category for Jean Smart.
We do have to shoot tomorrow, and we have a call time of 6 a.m. So if Jean Smart asks you for a shot, please do not give it to her, okay? Kate Winslet, I'm looking at you wherever you are. Give her water.
Jessica Gunning for Baby Reindeer.
Baby Reindeer also took 2 TV trophies for Female Supporting Actor Jessica Gunning and Best Limited Series, Anthology Series, or TV Movie.
Wow!
Shogun was the big TV winner. Acting wins for Tadanobu Asano, Hiroyuki Sanada, and Anna Sawai, and Best TV Series Drama.
I really wasn't expecting that. I'm just in shock right now.
Demi Moore's Female Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy win for The Substance was her first major solo acting award. Sebastian Stan won Best Male Actor in that category for A Different Man, and Fernanda Torres took Female Actor in a Motion Picture Drama for I'm Still Here.
The Brutalist.
The immigrant drama The Brutalist won Best Motion Picture Drama, Best Director for Brady Corbett, and Male Actor Drama for Adrian Brody, who spoke of his family's own immigration story.
The many people who have struggled immigrating to this country, I hope that this work stands to lift you up a bit.
Amelia Perez.
Emilia Perez triumphed with 4 Golden Globes: Best Motion Picture Non-English Language, Best Original Song, Supporting Female Actor for Zoe Saldana, and Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy.
The light always wins over